Many thanks for joining me on Politics HQ tonight. I am Dakbo Adigboye, sitting in for Kofi Batels. Now, a federal high court in Kano has set aside the Kano State Emirate Law 2024, which dissolved the 5 emirates in the state. The court dismissed all steps taken by the Kano State Government to repeal the Kano Emirates Council law relied upon by the state to dethrone the 15th Emir of Kano. That's Ado Bayero and 4 others. Recall that the Kano House of Assembly had repealed the law enthroning the 15th Emir and established an additional 4 Emirate Council, that's Bichi, Rano, Karaye and Gaya, by the immediate past governor of the state, Dr. Abdullahi Ganduje. The incumbent governor, Abba Kabir Yusuf, had implemented the repealed law by dethroning Alhaji Aminu Ado Bayero as Emir of the state to reinstall the dethroned 14th Emir of Kano, Muhammadu Sanusi. Well, joining me on the show to discuss this is Sam Yohanna, the immediate past Organising Secretary, Kaduna State, that's for the APC, and also Qudus Alalafia, that is a lawyer, head of chambers, and Chineduji Udora and Co. Thank you for joining me, gentlemen. I think I'll just start off with you. Great. I'll start off with you.
Thank you.
Okay. Let me start off with you, Qudus. I mean, this particular development happened, unexpectedly, just hours ago. And many are beginning to question the legal, process behind it. Would you, from a legal standpoint, want to sort of elaborate what exactly, is going on?
The truth is that there is no cause for alarm. People should feel relaxed. It is just a normal procedural law in action. Now, the truth is that by the time that suit was commenced, presumably, what the court would usually do in such an instance, which is the normal thing for a court to do, is to ask parties to maintain status quo. Now, what we mean by status quo means that the court is not saying that at this point as we speak, the court is not saying that the law made by the House of Assembly of Kano State is void. That's the new law that brought in that brought in Sanusi Lamido Sanusi. The court is not saying it is void, and is not saying that it is not valid. What the court is simply saying is that, okay, parties, just maintain status quo ante bellum. Where you are, stay there, which means, as we speak, an emir has been deposed. Mm-hmm. A new one has been reinstated. Mm-hmm. As we speak, parties just maintain where you are. So that position that you were, we cannot say this is the Emir of Kano as we speak.
So are you suggesting that by this declaration by the court, we don't? Let me just put it to you, outright. Who is now the current Emir of Kano?
Well, presumably, by virtue of Section 4 of the Constitution, which empowers the legislative arm of government to make law, the Kano State House of Assembly has made a law which the deposed Emir, Ado Bayero, is now seeking to upturn. So until it is validly upturned, until the court say that law is no longer a law, the status quo as we speak is that Sanusi Lamido Sanusi is the Emir.
So Ado Bayero, His Excellency Ado Bayero, has not been reinstated?
Has not been reinstated by the court's decision. Now, it's just asking parties to maintain status quo. So until when the court now hear both sides and reach a final decision with respect to, okay, the law was not valid, then so Ado Bayero come back as an emir, then Sanusi Lamido Sanusi step aside. You know, this decision is not coming prior to the making of that law by the House of Assembly that reinstated Sanusi. Had it been the court ruling or decision came in when they were about to do something, then we can say Adebayo is the emir. But you see, you cannot use a court decision to arrest an action that has already been done. That's the position of law. That decision, I mean, the action, the deed has been done. Malam, His Excellency Malam Adebayo is now seeking to upturn it. So by the decision, by that decision of the court as we speak today, it is still that Malam Sanusi Lamido Sanusi is still the current emir, while Ado Bayero is still to be still, I mean, on a side until the decision is really decided by the court.
I mean,
but in all honesty, because the matter is already in court, so we cannot really say that, okay, even Malam Sanusi, his leg also is one leg in, one leg out. While that of Ado Bayero, the two legs are out already because there is a law in order, in action as we speak. Thank you very much.
All right. I mean, I'll come back to you, Qudus, on this one, because, I mean, for that status quo, that phrase there, what would have thought maybe the status quo being before, you know, His Excellency Ado Bayero was removed, that be maintained. But with this insight, this seems pretty new. But let me leave you for a moment and go to, of course, my next guest. Thank you for staying with me. Now, many are reading also political connotation to this. I mean, let's trace this, the origin of this. It started during the regime of the former governor of the state, Abdullahi Ganduje, who is now the chairman of the APC, the All Progressives Congress, of which you are a member. And many are reading this as more of a political situation than a judicial, you know, outcome. I'd like to know your reaction.
Thank you for having me. A couple of days ago, I was on your program where I said the whole of this is playing out as a result of issues between two political gladiators in Kano State. In the first place, when these 5 emirates were created, it was created to whittle down the power of the then 14th Emir of Kano, where the Kano Emirate that has been in existence for over 1,000 years was fragmented into 5 different districts. And with today's judgment, it is still, the judgment still affirmed that yes, the 5 Emirate Council still exists, but status quo be maintained for the position of the Kano Emirship position. That means the dethronement of Malam Aminu Ado Bayero has not been affirmed by the court, while the enthronement of Sanusi Lamido Sanusi has not also been affirmed by the court. So, by my own understanding as a layman, the emirship position in Kano, it's in limbo. Since the 15th emir, it's not affirmed as the emir of Kano at the moment, while the 14th emir that was reinstated recently by the governor of Kano State has still not been affirmed by the court. And we all know that Malam Aminu Ado Bayero has a case in court where he sued the Kano State government for infringing on his fundamental human rights when they sent security agents to his palace before the 48 hours deadline that was given to him. And he said that they have infringed on his fundamental human right and went to court to challenge that infringement. So I think he got a judgment in his favor, and Kano State Government will fine 10 million naira, of which Kano State Government has appealed that judgment. So as it is right now, like I said earlier, this issue has to be handled with wisdom, because Kano, it's a very, very sensitive state, and both of these two people holding tied to this emirship seat have a lot of supporters. If it is not properly managed, I tell you, anything can happen. But we don't pray it gets out of hand. And it's good that this thing is managed and resolved in good time.
All right. Let me, of course, move away from you briefly, Sam. Let me come to Qudus on this. Now, we understand that the court actually did dismiss all steps taken by the Kano State Government to repeal the Kano Emirates Law relied upon by the state to dethrone the 15th Emir of Kano, that's Bayero, and 4 others. But my question is this. Right now, we have a situation where there is a decision already taken by the state, and then there's also the judiciary on one part. It seems like, you know, there seems to be some sort of crossfire when it comes to the law here. Would you want to further elaborate how exactly this works? Which supersedes which?
You see, the law is very, the Constitution, so to say, let me put it that way, is very clear with respect to the duties and responsibilities of each of the arm of government. Now, if you look at the provision of Section 4 of the Constitution and that of Section 6 of the Constitution, highlight the roles of each of the parties. I have read of course, not that I read directly from the ruling of the court, but what is reported in the media. And I have looked at it judiciously. While it appeared that the court nullified all the steps taken by the executive and the legislative arm of government with respect to repealing and enactment of new law, my position is that that act which the court seek to overrule has already been taken. It is already a done deal.
Is the judiciary not overstepping its boundaries here?
Well, we will not say that. You know, the court by its power has power to nullify anything that is not done in line with the law. Now, with what I read, the court is saying that I nullified the action of the governor and the House of Assembly because they were in the knowing that there was an order of the court restraining them from enacting that law. But if you really trace the genesis of this thing, Malam Sanusi had already been enthroned. It was at the height of that enthronement that there was an ex parte order made by the court. Now, ordinarily, I didn't have even read the true ruling of the court, other than what we are relying on the media. Under the procedure, once a matter is in court, parties are ordinarily meant to maintain status quo. Now, the status quo is where you are before the court order comes. Parties are to stand there. So let's take, for instance, if the enthronement was done at 5:00 p.m. and the court order was given at 6 p.m., The court order ordering parties to maintain status quo simply means that as at the time the order was coming, what the order made you doing was what you should be doing at that time. Don't do any other thing other than that. So, sincerely speaking, I have not been able to read directly into the ruling of the court, except what we are all seeing in the media. So, my understanding of the ruling of the court asking parties to maintain status quo is that where that order, what the order makes you doing at that point, stand there. Don't go beyond it. So, like I said earlier, an order of court cannot upturn like an interlocutory order. Let me put it that way so that will be clear. Interlocutory order means an order made in interim cannot upturn what has already been done until the final decision is made. And at what point will the final decision be made? It will be at when the court hear both sides. If what we are hearing today is that the court has made a final judgment, which means immediately after the final judgment.
Okay, I think we have a bit of connection issues here with Qudus. But let me move away from you, Qudus, slightly. Let's move to Sam on this one. Sam, I would like to ask you, Qudus, we lost you for a moment. I'll come back to you. We had a bit of connectivity issues with you. But let me, of course, move to Sam right now on this one. Sam, now, my question to you is this. One cannot but talk about the political dimension to all of this. We know that Kano State was under the leadership of the APC, but lost it to the NNPP, and we know there's been a lot of back and forth, particularly when it comes to this issue on ground. My question to you is this, looking at it from a political perspective, they are loyalists to the former governor of the state, talking about Abdullahi Ganduje, who is now the chairman of the All Progressives Congress, and they're also co-loyalists to the ruling governor. And we are seeing this play out. How do you envisage, if at all, this would pan out in the coming weeks, and how these loyalists will take it, in the coming days?
Well, like I said earlier, the whole of this is a disagreement, or should I say friction, between two former governors of Kano State, who are political gladiators. And like I said earlier, if it's not properly managed, it can become something else. But my advice to both, holding on or claiming their emirs of Kano is, however it pans out, they should accept it in good faith. Because, like I said a couple of days ago, it will interest us to know that these two people are related. They all grew up in that palace. I know that Sanusi, one of Sanusi Lamido's wives, is a younger sister, Bayero. And Sanusi practically grew up under the tutelage of late Alhaji Ado Bayero, who is his uncle. So it's an in-house thing. And I'm sure at the end of the day, if the judgment is delivered, each of them should be able to accept it in good faith, whether he's affirmed as the emir or he's lost out. He should be able to accept it in good faith, because Kano is greater than both of them. Because the two of them cannot afford to throw Kano into turmoil that will spill to other states in Northwest. Because the population in Kano, we're talking over 10 or 11 million at the moment. So, and you can even see what happened a couple of days ago after the Eid prayer, where they were, ranging all kind of abuses on the governor and his entourage after the Eid prayer. They were using derogative words on the governor. I think they even went to the extent of trying to start throwing objects at the convoy. It took the intervention of the security agents attached to the governor.
But should this issue actually even at all be a political matter? I mean, these are cultural and traditional issues that, predate even Nigeria's independence.
You see, where the whole thing started is when they allow politicians to start interfering in traditional institutions, dictating the pace, compromising the process, how emirs are emerged. That's where the whole issue started. And now the politicians are neck deep into how emirs emerge. So this is what is playing out. And honestly, other emirates that have not had this kind of challenge should be very careful not to allow people that have no business to do with traditional institution and emirship to get themselves involved. Because what is playing out is sentiment. There's sentiment there, there's ego. Why would I allow this to dislodge me? Why would I allow this that is loyal to this camp to do this? So that's what is happening right now.
All right, Sam.
So, but like I said, I hope they will be able to manage it very well so that they can move on. It has already affected the day-to-day activities of people in Kano now. People are scared of going out for their normal duties because anything can happen at any time. The town is sitting on a gunpowder. There is tension everywhere.
All right, Sam, let me leave you for a moment. Let me go to Qudus on this one. Now, just to take a swipe a bit on some of the things Sam said, talking about the role of the government or politicians when it comes to, traditional issues and institutions like this. Are there provisions in the Constitution that, to a very large extent, maybe grant autonomy to, royal, institutions like this, devoid of interference from politicians?
Well, of course there are, and they are embedded in the states, in the state enactment. That's each state has its own enactment on chieftaincy titles. So apparently, if you look at the nature of all these laws, it has the inclusion of the governor, it has the inclusion of the State House of Assembly. But that notwithstanding, it does not involve politicking. Politicking is quite, when you're talking about politicking or politics, so to say, is quite different from when we are talking about governance. Do you understand? So looking at all this putting everything into perspective, in all sincerity and honesty, ordinarily, there should not be any place for politics when it comes to issue of appointment generally, be it chieftaincy, be it in terms of ministerial or whatever position, because ordinarily it should be basically on merit. That's my take on that. Thank you very much.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much for, of course, being a part of this conversation at this time. Sam and Qudus, once again, thank you.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
All right. We'll go on a quick break. When we return, the, of course, issues on tonight's show continues. Stay with us.